Hello and welcome to this new episode on this tactic testing series. We are testing tactic number 7 of the series so far. We are going to do 10 in total and then we'll top up all the results at the end and see which came out best. We are testing with Man City, who are expected to win the Premier League. We're testing with Birmingham City, who are expected to finish in the bottom half of the Championship. We're testing with Portsmouth, who are expected to finish in the top half of the League One. And we're testing with Rochdale, who are expected to finish rock bottom of League 2. So let's get a look at the tactic first of all. As you can see from the tactic, we're going with what I would call a 4-3-2-1. You might call it a 4-3-3, of course, it's entirely up to yourself. We are going with a custom tactic style with a positive mentality. Very few team instructions in this one. We're playing with standard width. It does say they're fairly wide. We're going to standard passing, slightly shorter. We're playing with a higher tempo. We're going to put low crosses in the box and we're going to work the ball into the box as well. In transition, we're playing with a counter press, counter attack and goalkeeper distribution to the centre backs. And out of possession, we're playing with a high press, standard defensive line, trigger press much more often and prevent the short goalkeeper distribution. So looking at the player instructions, we have a goalkeeper on defend duty. In right back, we have a wing back on support. Additional instructions are to take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder. On the left, we have a wing back on attack duty this time. Take more risks, shoot less often, sit narrower, tackle harder. So slight variations in the two fullbacks. In central defence, we have identical ball playing defenders, both on support duty, both instructed to dribble more, shoot less often, stay wider and tackle harder. Sitting in front of them, we have our quite possibly our key man in the midfield is our defensive midfielder on support duty with dribble more, shoot less often, tackle harder. Just in front of our defensive midfielder, we have a box-to-box midfielder on support duty who's instructed to take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, get further forward, move in the channels, tackle harder. And next to him, we have a central midfielder on automatic duty with take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, move in the channels and tackle harder as well. On the right wing, we have a winger on attack duty. Additional instructions are to shoot less often, tackle harder. Whilst on the left-hand side, we do have an inside forward on attack duty as well, with additional instructions to shoot less often, sit narrower, and tackle harder. Our inside forward on the left-hand side is going to sort of drift inside a little bit more here. That's going to allow our wing back on attack duty to get up the line a bit more often. And of course, up front, we have an advanced forward on attack duty with take more risks, dribble more, shoot less often, and tackle harder as well. So that is the team instructions and the player instructions. Let's have a look at Man City and see how we get on first of all. And as we can see, Haaland is coming in this time with a very, very impressive 83 goals. So it has in all competitions. I'm not sure if that's the highest goal tally we've had yet, but it's certainly up there. It's certainly amongst the top that we've had so far in the series. Quick look at the data hub. As we can see here, performing very well above average in the league. We're scoring over 3 goals per game. Our XG is very high, shots per game is very high, dribble is very high, cross completion is very high, pass completion rate is below average for the league. Fouls against is very high. Shots on target ratio is also, it's better than the league average, but only just. It is 41%. We do take a lot of shots per game as well. In the defending stats, we are performing above average as well there. We're conceding a lot less goals, just over half a goal per game. Our XG is a lot better. The ones we're struggling in is we're seemingly making a lot of fouls. Clearances per game is a lot lower. Blocks per game is a lot lower. And interceptions per game, tackles won and tackles attempted is about average, give or take. So we'll have a quick look at the competitions. The first one we're going to look at, of course, is the Community Shield at the start of the season. We did beat Liverpool on penalties after playing out a 1-1 draw after 90 minutes. In the Carabao Cup, we only managed to get to the 4th round, where we've been beat by Fulham, also on penalties there as well, this time on the receiving end. As we can see here, Fulham did go on to beat Man United in the next round. They got as far as the semi-final, where they went out to Brentford on penalties as well, and Brentford of course were beat by Liverpool in extra time. Looking then at the FA Cup, as you can see, we've made it all the way to the final. We've been beat 1-0 by Liverpool. which is a little bit disappointing, but you know, we've got to the final, so you still get a silver medal. That's okay. In the Champions League, we have been beat in the semi-finals of that as well. We've got as far, or we went to play against Inter, where we lost 1-0 after a 2-0. We won 1-0, apologies, so I get the results mixed up. We won 1-0 away at the San Siro, where we lost 2-0 at home at the Etihad. Inter Milan then went on to play Barcelona in the final, who, somewhat, even as a Spurs fan, inexplicably, Spurs got to the semi-final Champions League, losing only 4-3 on aggregate, and Barcelona did go on to beat Inter 2-1 in the final as well. But the main one is the Premier League title, and as we can see here, we've won the league by a clear 9 points. So we got this wrapped up a little bit before the end of the season. As you can see, of the, I think it was 83, 88 goals that Haaland scored, 64 of them have come in the league alone. Obviously, with that, he has the highest average rating in the league. And unsurprisingly, he's been man of the match in 18 of the 38 games. So almost exactly half the games he's been man of the match. As we can see there, Ederson coming in with 21 clean sheets in the league as well, which is just a little bit above 50%. And Kevin De Bruyne with the second most assists, third most assists really, the other two being joint top with 15 assists. And unfortunately, Joao Cancelo coming in with the second most yellow cards. So it's been very good for us with Man City. Obviously we've won one competition, we've got the semi-final, we've got to a final. A little bit disappointing we couldn't have taken some of those results just that little bit further. But we've won the league, and Haaland is scoring a bucket load of goals, so absolutely thrilled with that. Let's jump down to the championship and see how we get on with Birmingham. As we can see here from the team stats, Troy Deeney has an incredible 38 goals this season as well, performing very, very well there. Chong coming in with 14 goals, and Hogan coming in with 9 goals as well themselves. A quick look at the data hub, and again it tells much the same story. Well above average in attack, 1.7 goals per game, and defending we are performing well below average, so not being great in terms of the defensive stats, unfortunately. Looking at the competitions, in the Carabao Cup we went out in the third round to Oxford, in the FA Cup we went out in the third round to Aston Villa, and in the Championship we finished in 7th place. Troy Deeney, as you see there, will be finished in second top goal scorer. He did win the most man of the match awards as well. Gary Gardner picking up the second most yellow cards. The league is the one that just irks me a little bit. We finished there on 72 points in 7th place. We have a much better goal difference than Hull City. If we look at some of these 18 games that we lost, I mean, we can see that some of those teams have finished. I mean, I'm looking at Bristol City straight away is the first one I've noticed, finishing down there in 20th place. If we could have turned that one game around and won that game, we would have been into the championship playoffs. We might even have progressed beyond that as well. Be quite a big stretch to go from 72 or even 75 up to 90 points. So I wouldn't have expected us to put on a challenge really for the top 2 spots. Norwich with an incredible 115 points, lost only 1 game all season. QPR ironically losing 10 goals all season as well, but they drew 1 game less than Norwich. But there is a 15-point swing, 25-point swing actually between them. So it's done very well for Birmingham. I would call that a success. We are predicted to finish around, I think it's 17th or maybe 18th in the league. So to finish just outside the championships, outside the championship playoff spots, I would consider that a success. If this was a rebuild, then I would be very pleased with the progress we made in the first season. Let's jump down to League One and look at Portsmouth. And as we can see from the squad list here, we have Ronan Curtis coming in with 12 goals. We did, of course, as always, have Dane Scarlett, all known from Spurs. He racked up an incredible 49 goals in only 53 games. So absolutely thrilled for him as a Spurs fan. That's also very pleasing for me on another level. Looking at the data hub, I mean, it's much the same as it was for Man City and for Birmingham. It is, you know, well above average in the attacking spaces and performing below average in the defensive spaces. Not too concerned, really. Looking at the competitions, we've gone out in the southern section of the Pap Jones Trophy, we've gone out in the first round of the Carabao Cup, we've gone out in the 4th round of the FA Cup, and in the League One title, this is the most important one. We finished in 4th place, we've qualified for the playoffs, As you can see there, Dean Scarlett with 44 of his goals coming in the league. That's made him the third best player in the league. He also was joint with the most man of the match awards. Michael Morrison, unfortunately, they're picking up the most yellow cards. But we also have Tom Larry and Owen Dale with the joint most assists for the season, also sharing that with Anderson of Bristol Rovers. But looking at the league table is the one we're most concerned with. As we can see here, we finished on 90 points. We did lose 10 games. I mean, a couple of those games, you know, we lost to Port Vale. We drew both games with Burton. We drew with Forest Green. Of those games, that could have given us 9 more points. All 3 of those teams, all been relegated this season, could have finished with 9 more points had we been managing those games instead of simulating them. That would have given us the championship title. But all's not lost. We did get into the playoffs. We beat Derby in the semi-final. We went on to beat Peterborough in the final. So we still gained promotion. Just would have been nice to put a little bit of silverware against that instead of through the playoffs. But again, if we were doing a rebuild with Portsmouth, I'd be very, very pleased with the success we've had this season. So let's move on to League 2 and see how we get on with Rochdale. So Rochdale, as mentioned at the start, they are expected to finish rock bottom of the league and get relegated. Quick looking at the team stats here. Liam Kelly is our top scorer of the current squad with 7 goals. A few players contributing a handful each themselves. We did have Scott Quigley on loan from Stockport. He contributed a big 23 goals. So very, very pleased with that. Again, Data Hub, well above average in attack. You know, well below average in defence. That's fine. We can live with that. In the Papa John's Trophy, we went out in the northern section. Carabao Cup went out in the second round. FA Cup went out in the first round. And in the league title, or the league table, is the most important one here. So as we can see there, Scott Quigley coming in third top goal scorer, 23 goals, absolutely delighted. Tyree Sinclair coming in with 11 assists as well. Unfortunately, Ebanks Linnell and Sir Ricky, apologies, picking up 15 yellow cards each. As we can see here from the league table, we finished there on 72 points. Another win and possibly a draw. Goal difference, well, probably not a goal. Crawley had quite a lot of goals in the plus column. We may have finished even as high as 4th. But we did manage to get it into the playoffs. Unfortunately, we did lose to Crawley in the semi-final. We lost there 3-1 on aggregate. After a 0-0 in the first leg, we lost 3-1 in the second leg. Crawley went on to play in the final and were beaten by Colchester. So similarly with Birmingham and with Portsmouth, if this was a rebuild video, I'd be very, very pleased with the progress we've made this season. We were expected to finish 20th, 24th, apologies. We have finished in 7th place. So we've actually finished, if I can count that up, 14 places higher than we were expected to finish. So absolutely thrilled, absolutely delighted with that. That is it for this tactics test. I do hope you've enjoyed it. As always, you can download the tactic from the link in the description below. We will be continuing on to say we have 10 episodes to go, and we have 3 more episodes to go in this series of 10. So we will be back with the next episode. Until then, thank you and take care. Thank you for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button below and you will be notified when new videos are available. You can of course like, share and comment as well. In the meantime, you can catch one of these recommended videos appearing on screen, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Until then, thank you and take care.